Good morning, students. In this video, we are going to start a new chapter, that is joint stock company. Because in our previous chapter video, we have completed our chapter partnership. So, what do you mean by joint stock company? You know that there were certain demerits of sole proprietorship, some demerits of partnership. So, there evolved a company form of organization which is called as a joint stock company. So, what is exactly a joint stock company? A joint stock company is an incorporated association of persons having a separate legal existence, means the employees, the workers are completely different from the organization. Suppose if you can say, we can take the example of Tata Steel. Tata Steel is known by its own name. The employees under them cannot say that कि yes, this is my company और ये Mr. श्याम का company है, ये Mr. राम का company है. No, Tata Steel has its own separate existence. Plus, with a perpetual succession. Perpetual succession means whether the employees leave the organization, whether the employees die, the organization will keep on continuing. And a common seal. Common seal means the company has its own seal, the company has its own stamp. It is not dependent on its employees. So, there are specific keywords which you have to mention, like a joint stock company is an incorporated association. Incorporated association, underline that. Incorporated association means which has been started under law. Okay, having a separate legal existence, underline separate legal existence, with a perpetual succession, underline perpetual succession, and common seal, underline common seal. Its capital is divided into shares, and these shares are freely transferable, means if I purchase those shares, I can easily transfer those shares to you. That the shares are easily transferable, and the owner of these shares have limited liability. Limited liability means if you are purchasing the shares of amount 1000 rupees, then you are liable for only 1000 rupees. अगर कंपनी का कोई डेप्ट है, अगर कंपनी का कोई लाइबिलिटी है, and they are not able to fulfill those liabilities, they are not able to you can say pay back those debts, then you are liable only for the amount of shares you have bought. That's it. And it is an artificial person created by law, as they do not have you can say physical existence. They are artificial person, and how they are created? They are created by law. You can take the example of Tata Steel, you can take the example of Tata Motors, Reliance Industry, SBI. These are all joint stock companies. Okay. Next, come to the features of joint stock company. This chapter is very, very important. Remember this. Joint stock company features. The first feature is separate legal existence. In our meaning only, we have studied that it has a separate legal existence. So, what do you mean by separate legal existence? I have told you all that this company has its own recognition. This company is independent of its members. The company is not dependent on the members if they want to own property, if they want to make any contracts, if they want to file any suits. So, they are not dependent on their members. Like you can say कि पार्टनरशिप में दे वर डिपेंडेंट, कि पार्टनर बोलेगा, पार्टनर एग्री करेगा तभी आप कुछ खरीद सकते हो, पार्टनर एग्री करेगा तभी आप कुछ किसी के अगेंस्ट फाइल कर सकते हो कंप्लेंट. बट यहाँ पे कंपनी जो है, दे आर इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ इट्स मेंबर्स. कंपनी चाहे तो कोई भी प्रॉपर्टी खरीद सकता है, कितना भी प्रॉपर्टी खरीद सकता है, किसी के अगेंस्ट भी कंप्लेन कर सकता है. इट इज़ कम्प्लीटली डिपेंडेंट ऑन द इंडस्ट्री, not on the partners. That is why it is said to be having a separate legal existence. Okay. Next is your perpetual succession. I have told you all. Perpetual succession means a company is created by law. You know that? And it comes into existence only by fulfilling all the requirements of law. Its life does not depend on its members. Whether a member dies, whether a member becomes insolvent, whether a member leaves the organization and go, it doesn't matter. The company will continue to operate. It is not at all dependent on the members. For example, in a sole proprietorship, अगर आपके जो मेंबर है वो मर जाते हैं तो आपका जो भी बिजनेस है वो बंद हो जाता है. बट यहाँ पे आपके मेंबर्स मर रहे हैं या आपके मेंबर्स बैंकरप्ट हो जा रहे हैं या आपके मेंबर्स छोड़ के चले जा रहे हैं, वो मैटर नहीं करता है. आपका कंपनी जो है वो चलता ही रहेगा. नेक्स्ट इज योर लिमिटेड लाइबिलिटी. आई हैव टोल्ड यू ऑल द कंपनी, द मेंबर्स of this company is liable only to the face value of the shares. They have limited liability. Okay, if they are purchasing, suppose 50 shares of 10 rupees, then they are liable only for 500 rupees, 50 into 10. So they have limited liability. Their personal properties won't be attached if the company becomes bankrupt. Okay. Transferability of shares. I have told all this key, the transferability of shares, like the shares of the company can easily be transferred from its member, or any member can withdraw their shares. Okay, so there is no restriction on the transferability of shares. Any member, if they want to transfer their shares or to withdraw their shares from the company, they can easily do so. What is a share? A share is the share in the share capital of the company. Share capital के share को shares बोलते हैं. Okay. Next is common seal. You know that company is an artificial entity and a company cannot act and sign itself because it is not a human being. So the company are authorized by common seal. कंपनी का नाम लिखा रहता है उस सील में, एंड इफ यू आर यूजिंग दैट सील, इफ यू आर यूजिंग दैट स्टैम्प, मीन्स द कंपनी इज अप्रूविंग टू दैट मैटर. सो कंपनी का जो होता है वो कॉमन सील होता है. दैट इज, यू कैन से, द ऑफिशियल सिग्नेचर ऑफ द कंपनी, बिकॉज कंपनी इज एन आर्टिफिशियल पर्सन, राइट? It is not a human being. So वो जाके sign नहीं कर सकता है. So what we do, we keep a common stamp, we keep a common seal जहाँ पे कंपनी का name engraved होता है, and we use that stamp. Okay. Next is separation of ownership and controls. You know that members of the company have no right to participate in the management of the company. Only the board of directors being appointed by the company can indulge themselves into the management of the company. Rest other people are not involved in the management. Okay. If you think कि सारे members management में part लेंगे, then it is not possible. Voluntary association. Voluntary association means it is like, you can say, some person come together for a particular purpose, and they come together, they, you can say, according to their own will. Nobody is forcing them to start. They are coming together to start up an organization on their own will. That is why it is called as a voluntary association. Next is artificial legal person. As this joint stock company is created by law and it has no physical body of natural human being, that is why it is called as an artificial legal entity. Okay. Next is corporate finance. The share capital of the company is generally divided into large number of shares which has a very small value. For example, 10 rupee shares, 100 rupee shares, and these shares are purchased by a large number of people. They purchase those shares and they provide money to the company. So that is called as corporate finance. Statutory regulation and control. Statutory means by law. Government controls through company law over the management of the joint stock company. And a company is bound to follow the legal formalities and the documents which they have to sign with the registrar of the companies. So these are the features of a joint stock company. You can learn any 5 features. No need to learn all 10 features, because maximum number of marks which has been allotted for any question is 5. So learn any 5 features. Okay, thank you. That's all for today.